Round 11 in the A-League is here, and we are back as always to give our preview and predictions, of course, over the course of the action coming up ahead of us. Now, if you are a YouTube member, you've been watching these all season. Every week we come back and kind of run our eye over the upcoming fixtures. But if you're not a YouTube member, then you're seeing this little teaser that we've just decided to throw in. New Year's Eve, I believe, is when we're posting this video. So Happy New Year. A big year for football coming up as well. Jacob and Christian are here with me. We're going to do more New Year prophesizing and goals and dreams, Jacob. But I don't know. It's just a little bit. We get obviously the Mariners fixture on New Year's Eve as well against the Brisbane Roar, just to cap off 2025.
Yeah, competing with the cricket, which is going to be interesting, actually. It always draws a good crowd, so I guess it's a good thing Adelaide's not playing in that one. But no, yeah, it'll be nice to herald in the new year with some football. And yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of obviously negative talking points, I suppose, within the league, especially recently, and things like crowd numbers and But you know, it's a new year; it's a chance to reset everything and kind of go in fresh again. And yeah, like you said, set some goals and some ambitions and a wish list of what we want to see from football over the next 12 months. But no, it's been a great 2025. I know obviously we've still got another day to go, but it's been a great year for football. I think, you know, launch of the championship has been tremendous and was brilliant. I think the football that we've seen so far in the A-League this season has been great. So yeah, it's been good fun. Another year for us lot as well as a podcast, which is always a nice one to tick off. And yeah, just looking forward to 2026 now.
Absolutely. All right. So the way this video works is we're going to go game by game. We've got 7 today, so we're going all the way up to Adelaide versus the Central Coast. It's kind of hard to define A-League rounds in this little period, or at least when to break off these videos. So that's how far we're going. And then what we do is we go backwards in time and let's just say you'll see what happens. It's kind of hard to describe, so you're better off just experiencing it, but it gets very entertaining towards the end. So stick around to the end of the video. But Christian, Mariners Roar on New Year's Eve in Gosford. There usually is a big crowd to this game, and the first official prediction of this round I'm going to throw in is from Will, and he reckons they're going to crack 10,000 people over in Gosford on New Year's Eve, which it is usually the marquee fixture. Even in a year where the Mariners are down, then you know, usually this fixture is the marquee one. It's the one that people turn to show up to regardless.
I mean, you'd hope so, given the recent crowd figures that the Mariners have put up. I think one game got less than 2,000, so you'd hope New Year's Eve, people flocking numbers. And yeah, I mean, it's still a big game for the Mariners, right? Albeit it's not a top side, albeit you know, top side like Sydney or Auckland, for example. But Brisbane Roar are still fighting for first place, you could argue. They've done extremely well so far since the start of the season under Michael Valkanis, new manager. And this is going to be a bit tricky for the Mariners. This is going to be part of my prediction, this game, but it also involves Brisbane's second game, which they're playing, I believe, on the weekend, I think Saturday. So I'll save my prediction until that second game and I'll let you guys know. But I think for this one, I'm just going to say Brisbane. I don't see them dropping points here. Might be a draw potentially, given the crowd. If it is a strong turnout, that might be favourable for the Mariners, but this Brisbane side is just so well drilled. I just don't see them slacking off anytime soon. So for that reason, I don't see Brisbane slipping up and losing this one.
Interesting. Okay, Jacob, what do you make of this one?
Yeah, I'm in a similar position. I just think that Brisbane have been a really well-drilled team so far this season. We've only conceded, I think about 5 goals all season long, and we're coming up to round 11. That's a very, very good record. And of course, that's why Auckland had the success that they did last season. And, you know, Brisbane, if they can just kind of work on that final third a little bit more, that's kind of been their issue, right? They've not been scoring enough to capitalise on these really good defensive efforts. So, you know, it just ironing those kind of bumps out. And if you're going to draw a team to kind of get back in the you know, scoring mood, it's going to be somebody like the Mariners who, hot starts of the season, but have kind of fallen back to where we all had them coming into the season. So, yeah, look, I think this one's the Roars to lose. Obviously, it's never easy playing away, but I just think that they should be getting the job done here.
I find it also somewhat poetic this time around that the Mariners are playing on New Year's Eve, because we've heard so much about the new potential ownership and all the new players that are potentially coming in January. Now, just ignore the fact for a little bit that the window doesn't actually open on January 1st. But the idea that it's the last game of the year and the Mariners get to move into the new year and all these changes are apparently coming. Look, I'm with you guys. I think Brisbane Roar will be too good. They have another game a couple of days later. Well, both of these teams do, really. So Brisbane, I think, it just 2-day gap. And then the day after that, they play Wellington at home. So I think it would be really good for Volcanis just to have one cruisy game in there somewhere and allow his side to back up.
Nice and easy.
We've seen what that kind of 3-day gap does to teams. Obviously, it's a big conversation. I'm not sure, big picture, it shouldn't be a big picture conversation because players should be able to play every 3-4 days. When you go over to Europe, this is what players are expected to do. But because it doesn't happen in Australia, it tends to garner a lot of conversation, which is fascinating. Let's go to Auckland versus the Jets. Now, Christian, Auckland are a team that in the early part of the year, it's ironic because they're sitting, second on the table, and I think some people would still have them pegged in the underperforming category just because of how good they were last year. But they've got Hiroki Sakai back. A lot of their big players are in the team. They're back at home. Auckland very rarely lose at home. But you feel like the Newcastle Jets are also one of those teams that if anyone's going to beat them, the range of variability of the Jets is so big. If they just happen to be up here for one game, even Auckland away, they could still get it done if they're at their absolute best.
Upset alert, Newcastle Jets win this game. And I'm sorry for jinxing the Jets, but now Auckland are obviously going to steamroll and win 4 or 5-0 now that I said that. I just think in terms of that point you just made, Lachie, I think the Jets at their absolute best can get the job done. I know it's away from home in New Zealand, but just given the start of the season, how well we thought the Jets did, and they did do well under Mark Milligan, right? You saw the Australia Cup run. They won that cup, obviously, against Heidelberg in the final, and you thought, okay, they're onto something here. But I guess the past few weeks, put aside that 2-0 win against Sydney the week prior, defensively, they've just looked a bit sort of all over the place. There's no real structure about them. And, obviously the 5-4 result against MacArthur, paints that sort of picture. But it's sort of like, what are you going to get from this Jets side? They've got so much attacking firepower. They've got Lachie Rose up front. They've got Clayton Taylor, Battalato, Eli Adams. That free kick was incredible. Not just that, just his overall play. He's just such a good player. I said it when he was at the Victory, right? I think he just needs a club where he's going to be playing consistent minutes week in, week out. Milligan obviously has that faith in him, and also has to do with the fact that in terms of depth, they don't really have many options compared to a Melbourne Victory, for example, right? But in saying that, the Jets do have weapons up front to trouble anyone in the league, and that includes Auckland. So on their day, they can do it. And they've actually proven, I think once or twice, that they've beaten Auckland. I forgot when the last time that actually happened, whether it was earlier this season or last season, that the Jets actually got over Auckland. I might be wrong there. It might be another team I'm thinking
of. They might have
but
won in Auckland. Again, I could be wrong.
It rings a bell. But anyway, I think the Jets, again, though, everything has to go perfect. And that includes Auckland having sort of a stinker at the same time if the Jets are to get 3 points. But I just feel something that Newcastle can actually come away with 3 points here.
Mine at Jacob, the Western Sydney Wanderers against the Bulls. The glow of that derby win is well and truly worn off. I like calling this one the West Sydney Derby, trying to build up the profile of it a little bit. I like that these teams, we saw it a couple of weeks ago. It was maybe round 5 or 6. There was some genuine animosity there. So I think this really, as a fixture perspective, has a lot to build on in terms of the clash. In terms of the teams themselves, the Wanderers, they still haven't won a game since that derby, right? Which is now 4 rounds, there's 4 games, something like that. And the Bulls are coming off what can only be described as, look, I don't even know. Harrison Sawyer had a bull kid on his back.
Crazy.
Being the Jet.
That was the most A-League game I think we've had this season. I think it's fair to say.
Probably, yeah.
And it's
peak A-League game. That's
we've
what it
kind of been lacking those, so it was nice to get that. Kind of in a similar vein with the Adelaide Wanderers game last week. Last week, and then Victory and Wellington as well, just the other night. Like, kind of 3 games now where it's been just kind of a little bit crazy, lots of goals, what we want to see. But yeah, in terms of between these two, it's kind of, alarms are going off at the Wanderers, I think, right now. The way things have been going, really tough loss to take away to Adelaide. I don't think there's a single Adelaide fan you could ask that would say that the Wanderers probably didn't deserve at least a point there. They played pretty well the whole game, generated a lot of chances. Josh Smith's had an incredible game between the sticks to keep Adelaide in it. And, Adelaide managed to find a late winner again against the Wanderers. So it's just, it's a tough one because you can see exactly what Stadge and the team are trying to do and how they want to win games. They've just not gotten it done at all this season, and it doesn't matter how promising the football they play is, and there are some Wanderers fans who think it's not very promising at all, but it still doesn't matter unless you're getting those results, and the Wanderers aren't getting the results. Stadge is under fire still, and this is a big game. That return fixture against MacArthur themselves proving that they can score a lot of goals if they have the need to. So look, I'm thinking at this point in time MacArthur are the stronger side. They've just come off a really big win, like you said, against the Jets. That's they're going to take confidence in that. It was a hard fought draw against City last time out as well. They've beaten the Roar already this season. They're just feeling like the better team by far. So I don't think it's crazy to suggest that they'll get the job done. But I think if there's any game now that the Wanderers are going to get around, it's going to be this one, because the derby, when's the next one? It's not for a while now. Is Stadge even going to be in the job at that point, right? So it's like this. It feels like this might be the death throes of Stadge's reign at the Wanderers. I don't know, maybe that's a bit pessimistic, but this could be that final, get a win here and keep just next dragging yourself along. But if you lose, that's it. There you go. So it just. Yeah, I don't know. I think MacArthur have this one in the bag, and I'd be surprised if they didn't get the result.
Yeah, see, I listened to your point on Stadge and like setting it up as maybe one of the last couple, and I agree with everything you're saying. But I also remember feeling that way in the lead up to the last derby, and before they got those 2 wins on the bounce. I think it was against the Mariners and then Sydney, and then it felt like that should have been it, and it almost feels like now fan sentiment is almost worse. Like I know people are really fearing how many people are going to rock up to this game because of the atmosphere and the vibe around the team. And then it's the Bulls. It should be a good fixture. First game of the new year, literally on New Year's Day. It should be a really good vibe and set the tone for the next 12 months. But there's a lot of fear, Christian, that that's not going to happen.
Yeah, potentially, considering how things have gone, especially for a Wanderers point of view, right? You got Stadge coming out after the game on the weekend saying that the Wanderers are still one of the best teams in the competition. I was on the podcast with Paletti yesterday speaking about it, and I was just like sort of shell-shocked that he even said that, because you're sitting, second bottom of the league. Why are you trying to put pressure on your players? Obviously, the squad is going to be hearing that behind closed doors. Why add that unnecessary sense of pressure? Now you're coming into another big fixture.
Is it confidence, though, as well? Like there's pressure, but it's also confidence in his team.
It's a bit of both, but if I was a coach, I'd just stay away from that. I'd stay well clear. I would just, put my head down and say, look, we need to improve. It's obvious. Look at the league position. Look at the state that we're in at the moment, and we just have to improve. Keep our head down, work hard, and just get on with it. But the problem is, Stadge just isn't that type of manager, right? He would just say anything that floats off the tongue, and sometimes it sort of might get him into a bit of trouble, but he speaks from the heart, and I respect that, right? That's what we want. A lot of coaches to come out and be honest and share their honest opinion, which is great, but I just think, it was kind of a bit of a weird comment. But in saying that, I don't know which way to lean in this game. Maybe a draw, because I don't know who's going to win this one. It's going to be very tight.
All right, well then let's move on to Melbourne Victory versus Perth Glory. And this is a game that is fascinating for many reasons, because Victory have had this big charge up the table. They were dead last. They didn't have a striker that could score goals. Arthur Dillis was on the hot seat. Now they're in the six. Nikos Virgos is equal top of the Golden Boot, and Arthur Dillis is a hero again. And so they've come on this big trajectory. Perth have done a very similar thing, obviously with Adam Griffiths coming on the up, doing quite well in the interim period. A couple of, maybe downturn results, but again, we're talking 1 to 2 week swings here, and then a very good performance against Melbourne City. And if my understanding is correct, they've actually stayed in Melbourne. We saw, who was it? I think Scott Wotton turned up to the Wellington game in the crowd as well. So they're not going to have the same travel consequences. They do have to stay away from home and not train at home. So there are those things to deal with, Jacob, but not at least as recent of a big plane flight across the country. They're in good form. So are Melbourne Victory. These are two of the better form teams in the competition. Now, form is not like maybe 2 months compared to other leagues. Maybe it's 2 weeks in the A-League, but it should be an entertaining contest.
Yeah, well, I'm not expecting anything less, and I'm loving to see the resurgence of Nikos Vergos. Like, just needed to get the monkey off his back, I feel, this season, and gets, 2 against Adelaide in the original rivalry, gets a big hat-trick last time out. Just that weight of pressure is gone, and now, like you said, all of a sudden he's tied at the top of the Golden Boot standings. So all that talk that was around, are they going to look to replace him in January? It's gone now. I think he's cemented that spot, which is great to see. And then Perth, they just keep going. They just keep plodding along. Those mountain goats come lions, come whatever anti-AI, whatever it is now, is the new thing from Griffo. And I mean, he's one hell of a personality, isn't he? And the better that Perth do, the more we get to see of him and hear from him. So that's a good thing as well. But no, this is, I mean, the two teams coming into this, I think it's going to be a fantastic battle. I do think at home, Victory should be hoping to get the job done. Okay, yes, Perth have had a bit of a resurgence, and they're looking a much better team to how they started the season out, but I still think at the back of their mind, and especially with Arthur Dillis and a lot of the players there, they'll be going, this is Perth glory, we've got to beat Perth. Like, we can't afford to lose to Perth at home. It doesn't matter how good they are. And it's kind of, that's the importance they'll put on this fixture, especially with the run they're in, 3 wins from their last 3. Like, let's just keep on rolling. Let's keep this form going, and just kind of kick Perth a little bit while they're still trying to come on the up. So yeah, look, I think the Victory should be too good, but I wouldn't be surprised if Perth keep it a contest. Even if Perth win, I wouldn't be overly surprised. But I just think the storyline heading into it and stuff, I don't think it matters a huge amount, and I think the Victory should be getting the job done.
I just want to put on record as well, and Christian, I listened to you and Paletti on the podcast today as we're recording this, talk about Nikos Vergos and the fact that everyone was writing him off a couple of weeks ago. And I just want to put it on the record. I was on the show. I actually can't remember who it was with, but one of you two. And I said, Nikos Vergos, he's got the characteristics of a good striker. The potential is there. The goals will come. And then 4 weeks later, he's equal top of the pop. So I'm claiming some credit on this one. The egos kind of go through the roof a bit on the predictions game, don't they? But it's good fun. So look, Victory, when they have a goal-scoring striker, they're a good team. And obviously the worry is, like, you don't want to look at it from that perspective, but the worry is if he doesn't score, who else is going to, right? So is that going to be consistent for them from the next, 3 to 4 months towards the final series? Who knows? But that's the big question, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think you look at that performance against Wellington, you go, oh, okay, it's just Wellington. They've just been sort of almost horrendous this season, right? Especially away from home, and you score 5 goals. Do you really take anything into account there? But before that, they won the derby, 1-0, kept the clean sheet, and they won the original rivalry against Adelaide. So you look at it, Arthur Dillis must be sitting at home thinking, how on earth have I got myself in this position that I've been able to somehow turn it around? Because a few weeks ago, we didn't think Victory would be in this position, right? We thought, okay, the wheels might be falling off Dillis's position. How many times did we question, when is he going to get the sack? It's this week. It's going to be this week. It has to be this week. And somehow he's just clinging on to dear life, and it's paid off in the end so far. Obviously, things can change. A few wins on the bounce, isn't going to mean much unless they don't continue this form, right? So that's why this game at home against Perth is going to be massive. But don't underestimate Perth, because you saw against Melbourne City, Perth are going to come with a game plan. They're going to sit back a bit, absorb a bit of pressure. You saw City had most of the ball, dominated possession, had some clear-cut chances in the second half, didn't take them, and then Perth, they hit them, scored 3 goals, and that's it, walked away with the 3 points. So I think Victory have to be wary in that sense, that they don't overcommit bodies forward, because we know their attacking firepower, again, is second to none in the competition, I reckon, as of this moment. They've proven that with Vergos being able to be clinical in front of goal, they've finally got that number 9 they can rely on. It's just about the service, and they've got Juan Mata in behind Virgos. Who better? What better playmaker to have in behind than Juan Mata, right? So I think everything is slowly falling into place. And if you're a Victory fan, you're thinking, okay, this is a much more positive vibe than it was a few weeks ago. So as Jacob said, although Perth have gone this little resurgence under Griffith's, new manager and all that, I just think Victory in this kind of form, it's going to be very difficult to stop them.
I agree. Make sure you tune in as well to the next episode of the podcast, which will release, we reckon, on the 2nd of January. I have lots to say about Arthur Dillis and Matter and Virgos and that connection that you pointed out, Christian. I think it's definitely something strong to look for them moving forwards. I'll throw in Matt's prediction here as well. Matt's been a great addition to the predictions game this year. He's thrown in some abstract ones, and he's gone again here, referencing an Adam Griffiths press conference post-game. And he's predicting that Griff references the city of Melbourne as a place for blank activity during the post-match presser. I actually don't really know what he means, but part of the allure of the predictions game is that we don't do a whole lot of clarification of what the predictions are. We tend to just wait till after the fact, and we can argue over who gets the votes.
The onus is on you to clarify.
I'm guessing he means Griff's going to go, oh, Melbourne is a great city for... And he'll probably, if they win, they'll probably say winning or something, right? That's what I'm thinking that Matt said there. That's my interpretation of it.
All right, we'll tune in next week and you'll see us argue over it, I'm sure. The next game, we're going around the circle now a little bit. So the Brisbane Roar are back in action, playing against the Wellington Phoenix on Saturday afternoon, 5 o'clock. I think this is another game, Christian, that the Brisbane Roar would look at and go, this is another chance to get some strong points on the board. And honestly, we're getting to that point in the season. Like we see Sydney and Auckland break away, but Brisbane have the Mariners on New Year's Eve and then a home win against Wellington. 2 games that you'd think that they should win. All of a sudden, this isn't just a good start to the season. This is carrying it forward into the new year, sustained pressure inside the top 3, top 4 places on the ladder.
I think this specific game against Wellington is actually going to match up really well for Brisbane, considering Italiano's team this season has tried to be a bit more open and expansive. I don't think that's going to work as such. I tell you what would be fascinating. If we got the version of Wellington under Italiano's first season against this version of Brisbane, it would have been interesting, because then that meant that Wellington, away from home, they've got a more conservative approach. Who has the ball? Is anyone going to touch the ball? Like who wants the ball first?
Nobody even takes kickoff.
Nobody would take the
standing
kickoff.
there watching.
I know.
Yeah. I want to see Brisbane try and unlock a low block. Try and have the emphasis, have the initiative to move the ball forward and see what they can do, right? Whereas Brisbane have been so far, they haven't had to do that yet. So I think that's what would have made that matchup a bit more fascinating. But I think Brisbane have more than enough, considering Wellington's form. We just saw them lose 5-1 to Victory. They were pretty much awful, right? They were very lucky to get that sole goal from that Jason Davidson mistake, which I don't know how that happened, but just an absolute brain fade. But Wellington are going to have a couple of opportunities and they're going to have to take them. It's probably going to be the same with Brisbane, right? Because I don't see them going forward too much either. They'll, I think try and, push forward, especially in the first half. If they get that goal, then they'll shut up shop. They're not going to expose themselves too much. And, it's going to be on Wellington to try and break them down. And we've seen this season so far, Valkanis aside, that's not so easy to do. So I'm going to add in my prediction here. So across Brisbane's 2 games against the Mariners and the Phoenix, I'm predicting Brisbane to pick up at least 4 points. At least 4 points out of a possible 6 from those 2 games.
Oh, I think they'd be very disappointed if they didn't manage that. Eh?
Yeah, they'd be disappointed if they don't come away with 6, I think.
Yeah.
The way it's stacked up.
Yeah, okay. All right, don't mind it. I'll throw in who we got here. Paletti's prediction as well. Confidence in Brisbane that they'll score multiple goals against Wellington. I think they've only done that one time this year, scored more than 1 goal in a game. So yeah, confidence from Paletti in Wellington. Moving on, the primetime slot is Melbourne City versus Sydney FC. I don't know if Victory Sydney is the big blue. This is kind of like the sky blue off. I know it doesn't really have a name to it. I reckon
that was bad.
We went through a phase, I reckon, really early in the podcast where we were just assigning names to every single game that
matches,
we could.
yeah.
And I don't know, maybe we need to bring that back. But Melbourne City, Jacob, we kind of expected that over this summer period was going to be the time where they could, escape the burdens of the Asian travel. Like, obviously, the calendar is still condensed in the summer period with the amount of games you're playing, but the travel is much more limited comparing to what they were doing earlier in the season. But so far, that hasn't eventuated, and that's actually come in a phase of their fixture run where it's actually been a lot more of the favourable matchups. So now, all of a sudden, they're facing a tough run of form going into a game against, for me, the best team in the competition in Sydney FC, who have had a week off as well because their game against Auckland was postponed. So not a whole lot of fortune going into this game for Aurelia Vidmar.
No, I mean, yeah, they would have hoped for sure of some more favourable fixtures in this period, but that's football for you, and Vidmar would say the same, and he did earlier this season when he came to Adelaide, and I asked him, like, how difficult is it to balance those Asian commitments and thinking, oh, we've got a game in 2 days, got to switch focus to that, with also, your league duties and stuff like that. And he's like, it's just what comes with being a good football club, right? Is you've got to balance those things because you've found success, so you're now playing extra competitions. So, it's disappointing for them for sure, and they'll be a little bit annoyed, but, there's not much you can do about it. You just got to play the fixtures that you've got. But yeah, Sydney are absolutely just flying at the moment. They've played some very, very good football, scoring some great goals. They're looking like the Sydney that we kind of hoped we'd see last season and that we didn't, and now we're getting them this season. They are, like you said, one of, if not the best team in the competition so far against the City team that, has been kind of struggling. Managed to claw a couple of results here and there, but it's not been sparkling over the last 5 or so games. They're coming off the back of their Asian commitments, but it's now, a tough run of form. So it could be very difficult for City. It could be very, very difficult for them. I kind of hope that they do get something, if for nothing else, and kind of keeping the table still close as well. That would be cool, because they're kind of on that bottom end of the, that grouping of teams. So as long as they can kind of keep themselves in the mix, it'll make things fun, especially hopefully with a deep run in Asia. But Sydney just look way too good at the moment, and they're playing good football. Like you said, they had their last game postponed, and then the game before that they did lose to the Jets, but I think that was more kind of just a little bump in the road than anything else, and they should be back to full form in this one, and it's difficult to look past them for the result here.
All right, we've still got a long way to go, so let's move on to Adelaide Central Coast, the final game of this little video, end of round, 11. Christian, Adelaide, they've had some fun moments this year, and the win at Cooper's the other night was just another one of them. Late on, young, homegrown products, scoring late for a win at Cooper's under lights. How often have we said that, right? And coming up against the Central Coast Mariners team, we talked about it earlier for the Brawl Clash, right? I think they're kind of all where we expected them to be now, and Ed and Andrioli should really be expecting nothing more than 3 points here.
For sure, I think Adelaide will be bitterly disappointed if they don't come away with 3 points at home. I think, last game to end the round, you want to finish off at a high, right? And I think from last week, that last minute winners you touched on against the Wanderers, surely you have to gain a bit of momentum from that, right? I know it's easier said than done. Adelaide are one of those teams, like Jacob will know, they're always up and down. You'll never get the same consistency. This week it will probably be the Mariners win 2-0 away from home. Like you just can't write the script when it comes to Adelaide. Seriously, they're just one of those funny teams who you really can't predict, and that's why it's tough to see Adelaide be extremely convincing in this one. But again, you can't go past Adelaide. If the Mariners get something from this, I think Jacob's going to explode. I think we won't see him on the pod for 2026, if I'm being quite honest. But yeah, Jacob, what are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, Adelaide should be getting this one. Obviously, there's a lot of discussion about players that have been picked for the under 20s, was it? Under 23s? 23 team that was announced, but I don't think they leave until after this game. So, those will be big outs for the following week for Adelaide, but Alagic, Jovanovic and gosh, DeCooley, wasn't it, was the other one that was picked, will still be here for this one. So, big chance for them to keep that form up that they've had. DeCooley and Jovanovic, I thought, were excellent against the Wanderers last time out. So, a good chance for them to keep that going. Just, you're spot on though, Christian. It just feels like week to week you can't quite predict what Adelaide are going to do, which makes me stupid because that's exactly what I'm going to try and do here. And I'm going to say that despite everything, they will not draw. They're going to keep that drawless record so far this season. 5 wins, 5 losses. They're going to keep that going into next round as well. It could be a win, it could be a loss, but it's going to be one of those two extremes. I do think it will be a win. I think that they should be too good for the Mariners. If Josh Smits continues to have, games like he had last time out against the Wanderers, if the kind of those just silly little mistakes, it was a horror starting debut for Vinko Stanisic against the Wanderers. Arguably the reason both goals were scored. Not what you want to see from the youngster, but if they could kind of iron those out, I mean, that could have been realistically a 3-0 win against the Wanderers without those mistakes. So, Reds should get the job done, but I'm just going to say, regardless of what happens, they don't have the ability to draw, so they're not going to draw this week. That's my prediction.
Just want to see Josh Smits just kicking it in his own net in the 94th
it's
minute.
0-0 90th minute. I'll run down. I will be pitch side screaming at him to kick it in the net if it's 0-0 at that point.
I love it. Okay, and then finally, just to throw in my prediction as well. Now, this is something that has brought me success in recent weeks, which we'll get to very shortly, but I'm going to do a repeat prediction. I'm saying 3 away wins in this 7-game clump. So it's not quite 6 in a round, it's that 7-game clump. I've got my eye on a few, and the
Cartha
way
and
I
Sydney
kind
are
of think
the
about
obvious
it,
ones.
Yeah, and then I'm looking at just one extra to get over the line. Maybe it's probably a Brisbane Roar, but if they fall down, maybe a Perth Glory, something like that. Yeah, so that happens. So if you haven't seen this series before, this is where it gets to the fun part. So what we do is I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to go back to the previous round of predictions and assign votes. But you're getting a bonus today because by the time we did the last episode, I wasn't prepared enough. I didn't have the predictions ready for you. So we're going to have to do 2 in a row, which just means more value for you. This is good. So at the top is the leaderboard. I'm struggling. I do have a pretty good record overall in the predictions game, but this year, these guys are better.
The two of us, Lachie, we're just absolutely stinking at this season.
Even you've done all right, Jack. You're in touch. Matt's on 10, Will and Paletti on 9, Christian on 8, Jacob on 7, and I'm down in 5. And so these were the round 9 predictions. So, Christian, I said to you pre-recording that of this whole clump of predictions that we're doing tonight, there was only one correct. And thankfully, that is yours truly. Christian's going to debate that a little bit later on, but definitely in this round, I am the only one with a correct prediction. I said there would be 3 away wins, and there were. Matt had all 3 of the Saturday games in that week to have 3 or more goals. I think there were like max 2 or something like that. So unfortunate for Matt. Christian, you got half of yours correct. Paletti had a crowd that they were on the wrong side of. I got mine. Jacob, you got none of your 2 games.
Can't get anything at the moment.
Can't get anything. And Will had 3 draws and there were 0. So please do your best to try and steal the 3 points away from me. But I think the debate here is who gets 2 and who gets 1.
No, the debate's not 2. I get 2 votes because I'm the only one who got it half right. The rest got it wrong.
Lachie gets 3, Christian gets 2. It's who gets 1. Nobody else was right. Nobody else was close to right.
That's true.
It's like, it's genuinely, in the past we've done it where we've just given a vote to somebody who hasn't put a prediction in for this week. And everyone put a prediction in. So it's...
I think it's pretty easy, actually, if you put into context.
Are you thinking Paletti? Because they were at least kind of close.
It's close. You've got to base it off that. I mean, how else do you judge a 1 point?
How else still over 900 away, though. Like, that's...
Yeah, but
I think Will's definitely out.
Will's out. I'm well out.
Yeah.
Like Adelaide won and Phoenix only conceded 1. So it's got to be between Paletti and Matt. And Matt's 3 Saturday games to have 3 or more goals. You had a 2-0, a 1-0, and a 1-0. So, I think you have to give it to Paletti.
I think it's Paletti. Yep. I think that's
Easy.
fair. Okay, so I'll just do a quick little update on the scoreboard. So I jump up to here on 8 votes. This is the high production value you get from the predictions game.
Christian
Christian
jumps to
goes
10.
up to the top,
Wow, we got a 3-way tie because Paletti will get 1 point.
and then
jump
Paletti
ups.
picks up one more vote as well. So it is tight.
Things
The
are
scoreboard is tight. It's just like the A-League season proper. Everyone's going tight. So what I'm going to do, magical special effects, I'm going to scroll, and we have our other predictions up here.
Wow.
So this is for round 10. So Matt's prediction said that the Jets would join the rest of the top 6 in having positive goal difference. Now, this is wrong on so many levels, it's actually impressive.
It's pretty funny.
No, because the Jets do not have a positive goal difference. It's -2. They've fallen outside of the top 6, so they're not with the rest of the top 6. And Melbourne Victory and MacArthur both got into the top 6, but have negative goal difference.
Yeah, that's
So
as far away as
that
you
is
could get.
actually so wild. He's got it like the most wrong I think anyone has ever gotten a prediction.
Yeah.
Which is, maybe vote worthy in itself. I'm not sure. We'll discuss. Paletti said that across Melbourne City's 2 games that they would get more goals than Victory and Wellington combined. Of course, Victory and Wellington combined for 6 goals, which beats Melbourne City's 2 goals quite convincingly. I had City versus Perth to be no more than 2 goals. They ended up getting 4, so wrong, but definitely closer than those 2. Jacob, you had no games with more than 5 goals. Somehow 2 of them.
I thought that was the safest prediction of all time. I was like, there's no way I don't get this. I was like, I'll get 1 point, but I just need a point. And then whatever just happened there happens.
2 games in a round to have 6 goals or more. One of them was 9, which is just crazy.
Stupid.
Unlucky for you. Then Will, honestly, this is hilarious. We are so bad in this round of predictions as well. So Will had Newcastle and MacArthur both to score, which turns out they both scored truckloads. So first of all, low bar on that one. But the second part of this, and this is a quote, this is directly what he DM'd me in this round. Melbourne Victory versus Wellington to be a bad game of football. Like nothing of interest really occurring, just a turgid affair. Goals can happen, but they aren't anything special. Very nondescript game. I don't think that could be much
that,
further
I think
away
discounts
from the truth
the fact
either.
he got part of his right was being so wrong on that one. That it's like, that's
he
crazy.
Got part right, but even like a 1-1 gets the Newcastle MacArthur part, and he's so far away from that, and then he's just wrong. And Christian, I think this is where you're gonna have a go at my maths here.
It's wrong. No, I know what you've done. The Melbourne City game doesn't count against MacArthur. You've added those 14 corners on. That game didn't count. It was only the 4 games for across the Friday to Sunday. Because I remember saying to you, do you remember I said with the corners, it's only 4 games. You said, oh, okay, you got to go back to the recording and see. It was only those 4 games.
Jacob, I don't remember. I wasn't in the recording.
I wasn't there.
City MacArthur game didn't count. We did it after. Or on that day of the game, or was either on that day or after. But I know for sure
included that one in their prediction, no? So
it's wrong. Yeah. No, I swear on my life, I said that it's 4 games. I
think you're in for a point here at least anyway.
Because no, you take those 14 corners off 46. I have 32 corners. I said 32 to 38 corners. I got one bang on. I should be getting 3 votes. I swear on my life, it was 4 games. We didn't include MacArthur, Melbourne City.
Did we only say 4 games?
Yeah. Go back to the recording. Go back to the recording. I'm here. I'm here to defend myself. I promise you.
So did we not? Did it not include Victory's game? Then is what you're saying?
No, it did include Victories because that was the 4th game.
Oh yeah. Because the Sydney game was postponed.
So not City MacArthur.
No,
so
we didn't include.
We definitely said
that
wasn't in the week's previous
preview
predictions.
Yeah.
All right.
I promise you.
Let's operate under the basis that Christian is correct.
He's being truthful.
I promise you. I am. Yeah. I am. I swear. I promise you.
I'm happy to give him the points anyway with the rest, how everyone else has gone.
We can go to the VAR tape later, but let's give Christian his 3. Congratulations, Christian. Well done. 3 votes.
Thank you.
Now, where else are we? Look, to me, I think it's quite poor, but I think I get the 2 votes.
What's yours again?
No more than 2 goals, and there were 4. You were only
can we
doubly off. You were off by 200%, Lachie.
And you know what? That's actually not bad for this set of predictions. We can rule Will and Will's got something correct. Definitely Matt. Matt is gone.
Matt's
right?
out. Can I make the claim that those 2 games with the goals, that we just write them off as once in a million years, and I'm right, and I get 3 points. Can we say that?
Yeah, it's once in a million years. So your bar was so low, and you still got it wrong.
I'm giving Will
Victory
2.
to score 5 though. That's ridiculous. And then MacArthur and Jets combining for 9.
Well, Will's got something right. He got Newcastle, MacArthur, both teams to score. He's got something right.
He did get.
I know
something
it's a low
right.
bar, but that's what you get if you go for the low bar. That's
what I did last
that's
week.
The game
and
you
I
play.
missed.
I know, but that was your aim, Jacob, to try and get a point.
Yeah, it was
other
just to get
people
a
slipped
point,
up.
yeah.
Other people slipped up here, and to Will's credit, he's got
What
something right. So
I
that's two
take
for me.
issue with, though, Christian, is his comment being so confident and cocky about how Victory Wellington is going to be a rubbish
It can
game.
be as
and
wrong
he
as
could have
he
just
can.
said it's going to be a bad game of football, and I think we'd be less harsh. But it's just that all the adjectives that he's thrown on there and the hyperbole. I just think that sits wrong with me. That you're so confident and then you're that wrong that it's
He
actually
could have
one
said
of.
Wellington Victory could have 20 goals in that match. Doesn't matter. He got Newcastle, MacArthur, both teams to score. I think that has to be 2 votes. If we're playing on the basis of what we've been doing for the whole season, giving points for correct predictions, I think you can't argue.
You did get something right. I don't hate that logic. And also, I think we've also established the precedent of encouraging creativity as well. So
It's
I
got to
know
be
he
that
was
balance.
very wrong in the. Yeah, he was wrong in the second part, but I'm not mad at that. Are you okay, Jacob? If we do
Yeah,
that?
I'm okay with that. That's okay.
All right. And then surely I get a 1 vote here. Surely.
I mean,
I'm
it's
100%
the
away.
closest.
I guess so.
Letty is
Closest.
200% away,
Yeah, that's
and
the
Jacob's
closest.
super low bar.
The bar is that low in terms of who gets the 1. I think Lachie.
I'm just going to stop making predictions at this point and hope that we get more weeks like this. And I just get a pity
And we'll get
vote.
your vote for no prediction.
Yeah, because this is ridiculous. City first, no more than 2 goals, and there were bloody 4 of them.
Yeah.
Let's go 3 of them.
Are you accepting?
Yeah,
you
Lachie.
accepting
I mean,
that?
I have to. I mean,
Lucky one.
I can't, in good conscience, give it to Paletti or myself. So I guess it's got to be
Here
you.
go. Let's tally up some votes. Christian, you're shooting ahead, my friend, into the
I'm
lead.
out- I'm
We
out
all
of it
know that
already
when
now.
it gets to January,
Yeah,
Christian
I was
goes to
about
the
to
tennis
say.
and he
I
falls
was
off.
about to say. Yep. Exactly what's going to happen.
I've been burnt by the last 2 seasons coming so close. I've just decided I'm gonna let someone else try and win it this year. See if they can do it. Still on
Someone
7
else,
points.
what? Because you've
after-
won it previously, have you?
7
Jacob,
points after
what
9 rounds is
Bruno.
diabolically bad.
That's
10
terrible.
rounds even that's terrible. That is really bad.
That's
Christian,
terrible.
how does it feel? Top of the pop?
It feels good. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself because I'm not trying to be Arsenal where we've got a slight advantage and we're going to slip up. So I'm just trying to
It's yours to
keep
lose,
calm,
Christian. It's yours
keep
to
calm.
lose.
But as
Bottom
Lachie
job
said,
incoming.
as Lachie said, it's going to come January period, Australian Open, that 3 weeks. I'm going to predict the wrong round and all the wheels are going to fall.
You
So I'm
managed, to be honest, you managed to keep up when you were in Europe and you were
Yeah.
getting points whilst you had no idea basically what was going on. Did you even watch a minute of A-League while you were over there?
not really. A few highlights here and there where I could.
So I think
Yeah.
you'd be fine, honestly. Like,
And I think that's where I sort of dropped points because, as you said, I wasn't watching much football. So
yeah.
it was hard to get the predictions in, which might happen again in January. So I don't know, a chance for Will or someone behind to maybe catch up in that period. So yeah, it's looking tight and interesting.
So the pattern of Christian's predictions over the past 12 months have been in January 2025, went to the Australian Open, predicted for a round ahead of where we were actually at. And in true competitive fashion, none of us pointed that out to him. So he got 0 votes for that
Absolute
week, didn't
disgrace.
even have a
Where's the
legitimate
sportsmanship?
prediction. And then you went away to Italy and then predicted like you did the rounds early, but you did it intentionally and you did all of them so
Got
you
in
wouldn't
advance,
forget.
yeah.
And you still managed to poll votes, even doing
Yeah.
predictions 2 or 3
I did
weeks
one a
in
week
advance.
earlier. Remember, there was an international window, and I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
completely
yeah.
unaware. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to keep the prediction, not going to change it. And I don't know, put off somehow. So
Prediction DMs me. He's like,
It's-
Christian DMs me. And he's like, here's my prediction for the week. I'm like, mate, it's an international break.
It's international break, yeah. But this is all just because, like, you think of the last 2 seasons having done this, and what's been the recurring theme is whatever Christian predicts isn't going to happen. And now, all of a sudden, it's happening, and he's getting points.
Yep.
I don't know
The
what he's
world is
done.
ending.
He's changed something, but it's working for him, so...
just pure
Yeah,
luck,
well
Jacob. That's it.
You're not even going to say, "Oh, I'm just really skillful at this."
Hey,
No,
wait,
just
hey,
like,
sorry, no, we still got to go to a VAR review after this. Who knows? I might get my 3 points stripped. Who knows?
you
I
could
might
have
be
been
wrong.
completely
So
wrong.
let's say with the VAR.
And then it's the
If
question of
Christian is wrong, what's happening?
we bump
There's
Will
no-
to 3,
Do
you
I
to
get
2
negative points? Do I get points deduction?
for lying.
For
Yes,
lying?
surely, just outright lie. Oh no,
I
I
reckon,
actually
yeah,
said
you
this.
get wiped. I reckon you get, if
What?
you're wrong, you get wiped, and Paletti comes up in the 1, and then we bump everyone up.
Bump everyone else up.
Yep. I'm
Yeah,
okay
I think
with
that's fair.
that. Because I know I'm right,
All right,
so I don't
fair
care
play.
what you say. So
Fair play. All right, we'll go to the tape and let you know what happens. Thank you for watching this episode all the way through. Become a YouTube member and you can watch these for the whole rest of the season as well. Really appreciate everyone's support who has done so far. It's just it's a little bit of contribution to support what we're doing here. We really, really do appreciate. Tune into the main podcast. Plenty more content coming in the new year. It's going to be a big one. Women's Asian Cup, Men's FIFA World Cup over in North America. Plenty of A-League action and season 2 of the Australian Championship. There is so much football. Thank you for watching today. We'll see you next time.